Okay, so in this video we'll talk about how to create textures for our buildings, for our modular buildings. And the thing that makes this a little bit more difficult is we need our textures to be tileable. So what you will do is you will go out, take a bunch of pictures for our building, and you'll come back with images like these. And then obviously we have to do some adjustments so that when we throw it onto like a side of a wall, we don't want trees, for example, to be showing up there, right? So we have to crop them. So we'll crop them into files that look like these, except when you try doing this and you throw it into Blender, it will seem like everything's working fine. But if I was to take this and like say this is one side of my wall, and then I use the array modifier to put multiple side by side, you'll see that I get these repetitions here. So we have to kind of deal with them and we need to fix them. We also might get sometimes like the bricks not lining up, right? So ideally this should be one brick and it should start here and maybe end here. So they should also line up a little bit better. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we have to do it in Photoshop. So when you get to Photoshop, you want to go to New File and you want to create a 1024 by 1024 pixels. Very, 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 very important that it says pixels. And then we'll leave everything else the way it is and hit create. Now once we have this here, what we'll do is we'll get our folder with our images and we want to drag it, but you don't want to drag it on top of the image. You want to drag it on this gray bar so that it opens a new tab. Now with this tab here, I will unlock my layer and I'll copy, paste it over here, and then I'll resize it as well. If you don't see these, make sure you enable this show transform controls. Okay, but the move tool has to be selected. You want to make sure like adjust it so that you don't have these kind of random bits. So something like this. When you also make these textures, like yeah, technically I could just make it super massive, right? I could make it super like this, but it gets blurry and it's not good. So you want to utilize as much of the image as possible and then hit apply. Then what we need to do is here we have the crop tool, or if you press the letter C, it will activate it. But make sure it's the, like if you right click on this, make sure it's the actual crop tool, not perspective crop tool. We'll use this one later. You'll get these little lines across. You don't have to hit any of them, just hit enter on your keyboard. You will get this window and then hit enter again. This essentially removed all the other bits all around and we'll need this. Okay, so now we're almost there. All we have to do now, we have to first select the layer, then we go to filter, other, offset, and because we used 1024 by 1024, we will now half that number, which is 512 and 512. And hit OK. What this did is it essentially moved the image like this, and then it filled these remaining squares with the other three, I guess, hidden squares. Okay, and the reason for this is it's kind of hard to see on this texture, but you can kind of see like a line across this way and this way. That is something called a seam. That is something that would show up in our textures if we were to tile them like this. This is essentially the seam, and we want to remove them as much as possible. And in this one, technically, you probably could get away with it, but we'll still want to learn the technique. So to fix it, you'll go here where it says spot healing brush. Make sure it's that one. Make sure layer 1 selected again, and then you just kind of draw a line across it. Draw a line this way, and the AI will essentially take care of it. And maybe it didn't do a good job here, so I'll just kind of squiggle. I still kind of see a line here and here. I don't know if it shows up on the YouTube video. Okay, so now we have to un-offset it. So with layer 1 selected, filter, offset, and then it's already 512, 512, hit OK, and now it's good. Then go to File, Export, Quick Export as a PNG. I would make a folder on your desktop, right click, new folder, call it textures, Okay, technically I already have them, but whatever. And then here I'll just call it concrete and hit save. Okay, so I created my texture here. For concrete, that's it. For the rest of the video, I'm going to quickly make the other ones. The bricks will take a little bit more work. The roof will take even more kind of patching up to do. But the door you can kind of maybe do on your own. If you're confident with Photoshop and everything I do, you can skip the rest of the video, or you can try on your own, see how it looks in Blender, and come back to this video if you're still struggling. Okay, so I'm going to tackle the bricks now. So same exact thing, get my bricks photo here, move it up here. You can remove that one. Okay, so I have the concrete here still, that's okay, and I have my bricks. For this one it's a little bit different. I cannot just copy it into my other layer here. What I have to do is first get rid of the distortion that's happening. If I try to draw a square right here, I get this kind of missing piece and this missing piece. That means this is not a perfectly like aligned photo. So we have to first make it perfectly aligned, and for that we have to right click on the crop tool. So right click and then choose perspective crop tool. And then you click once in the corner. You click once in the other corner. And the way I'm moving my camera here is I'm holding spacebar, and while I'm holding my spacebar I click and hold left mouse button, and then I just move my mouse. So I go corner to corner, and then I hit the check mark, and now this is a perfectly aligned image. Now what I can do is select my move tool, unlock my layer, and then I can hit Control C. Because I want to copy this, go here, and I'm just going to paste it, Control V. Now, if I move this, I'm going to move it a little bit away from this side, because this side has a little bit of shadow, and this side also has a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to move it kind of in the middle, but I will also align it so that, for example, this piece, or maybe even this piece, like this corner, is at the very top here. Like this. Okay. Then I also have to align the bottom corner, for example, that will be down here. But this is quite difficult if I was to use these transformation points. So what I will first do is, again, I will right click on this crop thing, just regular crop tool now though, hit enter again, go back to my move tool, and now I will be moving these. Now I can move this one, and it's kind of hard because it makes it disappear. Okay, so I lined the white here, but now this one should go down a little bit. To make it go down, you technically move this one. The problem with Photoshop for some reason is when I try to move it, it also moves them sideways. So what you have to do is you have to hold Shift. So I'm holding Shift right now, and it's just moving it up and down. There, and I want to move it just so the white starts being visible. And then have a look around the texture just to make sure that it's all nicely lined up. Then for one more time I will click the crop tool and hit enter again, just so it cuts away all the other remaining extra bits. Okay, now the final step with the bricks here is, even though we lined it up on the corners and everything else, we still need to go to filter, offset, and offset, because we want to see our seams. So our up and down seam is actually right here, because you can see, like, I actually don't see the seam. Maybe I see the seam right here, but the way I know that that's the seam is because the pattern repeats. Like, these two bricks shouldn't be on top of each other, there should be a little bit of offset. For this example, I will say I don't care to fix it, but I do care about this seam right here. I'm not a huge fan of that. I will use the spot healing brush tool, even though this is probably not a good tool to use for this. But even now you can kind of see that it did mess up the bricks are kind of like here, it kind of goes up, but that's okay. Then we'll go back to filter, offset, offset again. So it's back to the regular look. Go to file, export, and export it as bricks. I'll do the same thing now for my roof. So I took a picture of the portable for the roof. The material is kind of similar, but same thing. I'll get the perspective crop tool first, and I'll just kind of match up my corners here. I'll just take one of the panels. So the way I'll clean this up is, instead of using the spot healing brush, I mean, you can try, like for example, for this little blue thing, you know, maybe some blue paint got there, boom, I take it out. But I also want to remove these lines. Removing those lines with the spot healing brush might or might not work for you. Okay, for me, this time it works. When I first tried it, it did not work. So if it doesn't work for you, you can right click on it, click on the healing brush, and then what we have to do is we have to hold Alt and left click where we want to sample from. So we want to hold Alt and left click in a good area essentially. So I'll do it right now. Okay, and then I'll go to the bad area and I'm just clicking up and down. And you'll see that up here, it keeps putting this like little cross, because that's where I'm essentially sampling from. So you can, you know, so you don't get like full repetition, like down here, what I'll do is I'll, you know, Alt left click somewhere else. Okay, and then I'll keep going. And now it's sampling from here. And the more you do of this, the more unique it will be. But you can also see I'm getting rid of like these little rivets, which might or might not work for you. I don't know, depends on what you want. But because for me the spot healing brush works right now, I'll just use that one. Anyway, so once I have this, unlock the layer, copy it, go to my size template, paste it in here, Control V, resize it, move it into the middle, hit OK. Hit C to crop, or crop tool, and then hit enter, enter again. And we want to go to filter, offset, offset. Okay, and so these are our seams. We also have to fix these seams. So we can try with the healing brush, and I guess it did a decent job. Here there's some color kind of difference. I'm not a huge fan of it, but we'll just say that's okay for this example. Go to File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and this is our roof. Okay, for the door, you're essentially doing the same thing. I will not create a video on that, but you essentially want the door as well. And now what you can do is you can actually check out your textures if they tile nicely. So go to shading, create a new material here by hitting new. Click on this Principled BSDF so it's highlighted in white. Hit Control T if you have the Node Wrangler add-on. Click on Image, Open, find the folder of your textures. So here's my brick. Click Open, and you can kind of see they tile a little bit better. You will still, like, or depending on how many times you tile it, you will always notice some repetitions, right? So, and like once your eye catches one or two things, you will not unsee it. For example, these three bricks here always repeat, and like I can always see them. Now that I know it, my eye goes to it. There's ways around this. There's ways to fix it or try your best to mitigate it. We will not cover it this year. So yeah, that's it for this video.